6:36. We'll call this 6:36. We'll call this meeting of the Budget Committee to order. No minutes to approve at this time. Taking the agenda as written, may I recommend that we switch number 2 and number 1.
Sure, absolutely.
Any objection?
No.
No.
Okay, so we'll start discussion of justification items previously presented to the school board. Michael, just to bring you up to speed, this is the meeting you missed last time, I think. It was the new format.
That's this,
That's this one that you just received.
okay?
The administration presented their version 1.3 of the budget. And then these are additional items to be approved or disapproved for addition to the budget.
Did their budget come in under or how, under what they had before?
It's over version 1.2
Okay.
and the draft version 1.1. There was a lot we knew that wasn't put in yet.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else have anything to add, Steve? We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items. I'll start at the top. And we can have a discussion on each item. I have those approved by the school board already. Then it would come before the budget committee for approval or may vote. Starting with the student services coordinator from Xandra Reagan. That is 1,200 line special education. Any opinion from those who were at the meeting with the presentation?
Yeah, I don't support what was said at the meeting. I think Xandra has always been really good at presenting things, and I believe she says she needs somebody, assistant or student service coordinator. I think it should be added to the budget. He's never let us down and has never misled us.
I think there was also some question, I don't disagree with you, Steve, but I think there was some question about, because she wasn't there, there was some, question about what those parameters look like and, or what that, the actual job responsibilities were, right? Am I saying that correctly? The number, the caseload, wasn't there conversation about
I think
caseload?
what I heard at the meeting was that they were getting applicants for these positions and they were walking away because the workload is like 150 cases and the applicants weren't even interested at that caseload. So without this position, the caseload is only going to be worse. So I still think there's a question about what's the ideal caseload, but it's something for the school board and Sandra to figure out what's the ideal caseload for a caseworker.
Right. And
I don't
also,
know what it is, you know.
no, I don't either. And also there's a one position that remains unfilled, right? So there's Xandra and then there's an unfilled position and one filled position, I think. And then this would be another position. Is that-
My understanding is that 2 years ago, maybe there was 3.
I can't answer whether there was 3.
Yeah, somebody told me that recently that there was always 3. And then one was dropped from the budget last year, I think, for whatever reason.
I remember that at the meeting and they were
Yeah, so
asking
now
about
it's,
that.
but last year during the budget discussions, I think Sandra said many times that we were expecting to see an increase in special education needs in the school. I think it was 22% last year of the students. And she was expecting it to be keep going up into the high 20s somewhere.
I think we're there.
Yeah, so it seemed to make sense.
Okay. Any questions, Michael?
My only question is, why do we have so many special ed students?
That's, yeah, that's a good question, and I think,
I mean, it's not, I don't think we can answer
no,
it
it's
here,
not a
but,
budget committee question, but I think
no, but
looking at how we classify students and, I'm not saying that we're doing it wrong by any means, but looking at what does that look like and it seems, is it on par with other school districts, or do we have a higher percentage of special ed kids than, like, I don't know what and it's not a budget committee discussion, so it just kind of
yeah, I mean,
30,000 foot view.
Yeah,
Right, I can say that in what I've looked at, if you don't mind. I can speak, is that we are not actually out of line with the rest of the state. There are pockets that are, less heavy in special ed. There are pockets that are more, but it really depends on everything that's going on in the communities and all of that. And my own, thought on it is that we actually do a really good job here. Xander's excellent. And people come here because their kids get supported. So kind of a double-edged sword, yeah.
well, I'm okay if you looked at that and answered the question.
I
That's
do.
my only question.
I do hope that I made a recommendation at the last meeting. I hope that the school board, and we support that, to change the special ed reserve requirements to allow it to be used if the special ed budget has got problems supporting it, not only the whole budget. Because I think it takes one special ed kid and you're in trouble.
It's absolutely worth discussing, and it's something I'll have on our
Yeah.
January 6th.
For next year's warrants, certainly appropriate, I think.
Start talking about it now, it needs to be discussed heavily.
Okay, any further discussion on the first item? That was approved by the school board conditionally. Conditionally is not the right word. But it was approved by the school board. So if, once we come together Saturday, we can pick up this discussion again and have a more full picture of where we stand. Moving on to the second item. Charlestown Primary School, additional hours for library assistant. This would align with other library assistants. Cost of $16,000.
And that's the cost that just goes to Charleston, right?
So I'll just give you my 2 cents for it. It doesn't affect Charlestown, so. I don't think the budgets are that good that they can't absorb the $16,000. I'm very much in favor of the library assistant. I just don't think the dollars need to be added to the budget. I don't believe we're that accurate in our budgeting. That 16,000, and I'll have the same comment for Walpole with the dance program. I'm in favor of the dance program, but we shouldn't add $3,500 to the budget. They should be able to find the 3,500 easily within their budget. They're not that accurate. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could sit here and say out of $33 million that we're that close, but I don't buy it. So that's just my 2 cents.
Any other comment on the primary school in Charlestown? Library hours? Okay. Next is the recommended changes to the stipend matrix. This is district wide.
This was tabled by the school board.
I didn't understand the presentation, so I'm a little confused by it. I understand that there's alternate paths to getting certified. I get that, and to budget 20 alternate path people, that would imply that we have 20 non-certified teachers within the district.
I think these are two different things.
Is that the stipend line?
There's the stipend matrix talking about people who get
Yeah,
stipends
and-
for additional, being the adult leader for a club or something extracurricular, and then there's the one about,
Is it called the same? Maybe I'm wrong. Thought it was. See my notes.
So as the request reflects movement of some existing stipends to better align with time spent for similar clubs or teams, as well as the addition of new positions. New positions include coordinators, McKinney Mento, high school credit recovery, HS 504, free and reduced attendance area 504, and 22 mentors for those in site-based license plans. So yes, you're the site-based license plan, I feel like that's what they were talking about.
Right, 22 mentors for those site-based license plans. That would imply that we have 22 uncertified teachers in the district.
There was a,
I don't think it's as simple as that. They all have statement of eligibility from the Department of Education. They completed a certain number of classes.
Sure.
So like in my example, I have a statement of eligibility to teach in New Hampshire. I took all the classes, I just never did the student teaching. So if I came and taught, I'd fall into that program.
Right, but
But yes,
you haven't,
I wouldn't be
you wouldn't be certified.
No.
And that's what I think it's implying, right? That
Yeah.
right now we need 22 mentors.
In order to get them certified,
You need a mentor.
you need a mentor.
I understand that, but
so pulling that
are
out
they
further,
teaching in the classrooms, these 22 people?
some of them are.
Yeah, so that's
But I
what I'm
think that
saying,
it's always been that way. There's always been people on these plans.
on
of
this
some sort.
alternate, yeah,
There's just more now because of that.
yeah.
the,
Seems like it's a recruiting strategy. That's what I seem to have heard from Corey.
yeah, the one question I had during that presentation or meeting or whatever, was, and I don't know how it fits in with the union, which is why I didn't speak up and say anything. But if we spend the money on the mentor to get the person certified and then they leave because now they're a certified teacher, I mean, I fully support having that alternative, road and all of that, but there has to be some sort of, not guaranteed, but for lack of a better word, guaranteed return on investment if we're going to spend.
Right.
I mean,
And I got the impression at the meeting that nobody wanted to do that.
Right.
That's how I walked away from it. And I know with police officers, when we pay for training of police officers, they've got to give us a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
Or they have to pay us back.
exactly. They're used
And I
to,
think that's something like that should be in place for these teachers or these alternate people that we're working to get certified.
because then arguably next year, we wouldn't need that much money for stipends for mentors because we would have those roles filled.
Yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, I know that
It's gotta be
everything is,
balanced, but
Right.
it's fine, but that's the reason I walked away and I marked my notes no, because I didn't understand it, and I think it was put on hold
it
It
is.
was.
as well to the school board to understand it too, so.
Yeah. Yeah, we will take that up on Monday. We changed our meeting to this coming
Yeah.
Monday.
Right.
Okay, any further comment? Next is the replacement of one van, replace one van per replacement cycle, skipped FY 25. And what we have is a list of vehicle and equipment list. This is from Bill Botting in the Facilities Department.
I was scolding.
Are you scolding them? That was good. It was picked up on the side of the road.
Thanks, I have that effect on everyone. Mother everyone in the room. This one was also, I have in my notes that it was tabled. And that the school board had asked about a lease agreement and, or capital reserves for a lease. So that's what my notes said.
Jerry, any take on it?
No, I don't have my notes here.
You,
I think, again, I think these are the things that they have to decide at the school board level. If the band needs to be replaced, it needs to be replaced, but again, same recommendation, we should be building a capital reserve for these vehicles. So they don't hit all at once.
Go ahead.
You guys solve all the world's problems yet?
we're working on it.
Good.
So, okay, it's tabled by the school board. And we don't need to decide on it now, so.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Okay, the next item is from Sarah Edmonds, Fall Mountain High School Principal. Athletic trainer. Looking 40 hours a week, 210 days per year.
For me, it's a no. I
This is,
don't understand the need at all.
it was
Yeah, I
also
would need
tabled,
better justification.
yeah.
The other thing I'll mention, I walked away a little confused by or a little frustrated by was that there was no salary surveys done for these positions. And, you know, we have a professional HR person now. So I was really kind of surprised that in these big dollar positions that we haven't done salary surveys to see what the going rate is in this area.
Mhm.
So, another shortfall.
I think that was one of those things we asked for them to bring back to discuss.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is a no starter for me. I don't think it's required by law. As stated in the justification, I don't feel that, Sarah did herself any good with it. It was, so,
Yeah, no, there was, I agree, I don't think it's required by an RSA or anything like that. There was talk about NHIAA, but that was just for football. And then, I don't know if we had the numbers, I don't have it in my notes, but what are we paying, local, rescue crews to come sit at the game? And I can't remember if that was mentioned at the meeting or not, I could go back and look, but, I don't know if that is gonna equate to $56,000.
Just off the top of my head, but I recall it being about half of that for what they paid last year.
So,
It's an increase by 56,000 to 96, so it'd be 40 before was, I remember now, 40 was the budgeted amount that had been increased by the amount for the cover.
Side note to that effect, we couldn't find some position remained open.
Up to 40. Everybody get to hear that?
well, I
Yeah.
think,
Oh, I'm sorry. At 40,000, the position remained open. So we weren't able to find somebody to fill that position, which is,
full 40-hour work.
that one wasn't a full 40-hour work week, but there weren't even any applications that were received for somebody who would have taken it for 40,000 even at part-time.
we're still waiting on
Gotta be
the school
careful.
board.
We gotta be careful. We're not trying to buy employees with high salaries. That's a dangerous position to put yourself in.
Understood.
Yeah. I've gone through with engineers. It's, there was a time you couldn't get an engineer for any amount of money. You just kept raising the salaries. The first time the economy crashed a little bit, we laid them all off. If we would have kept them at a reasonable rate, we would have kept most of them on board.
Good. Any other discussion on the athletic trainer? Next item is a transportation item presented by Art Lufkin, Transportation Director. As stated, it's a used vehicle to outfit mechanic to service bus breakdown on site.
I think it's. No, it didn't, never mind.
I don't know who the gentleman was, the younger gentleman,
Dan,
Dan.
He is our
And
maintenance
Art,
on
I
staff.
think this one was well presented. I think I would approve it myself, because they weren't looking for top of the line, and apparently they've been saving money with this Dan. He's well certified and well qualified to keep the buses running, so I think it's a good thing to invest in.
I don't disagree.
I don't know I think the board approved it, or didn't approve it.
It was tabled.
It was tabled for a lease or lease buy kind of decision.
There will be different information coming on Monday's agenda
Yeah.
for this item. So.
Yeah, like I said, the presentation in my mind was thought out, you know, maybe it wasn't the way I would do it, but it had the right information, right points to it. And the very fact that the guy would be responsible for it was there explaining what he was doing at the facility. Made a lot of good sense.
I will chime in on this one. I don't share that opinion. I think that $35,000 pickup will not outfit the district with what it needs to go do service calls necessarily. With a different understanding of trucks breaking down in our business, when we have one of these vehicles break down on the side of the road, there is only so much you can do from a pickup.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
And at 4 to 5 record calls per year, averaging $800 per call, we're looking at it over a decade of
Payback.
to make a real impact. There is just, to some extent, you can do a lot and paying mileage. I didn't hear from Dan that he was opposed to being paid mileage to doing the job. But adding another piece of equipment to the fleet, we've already looked at what that equipment list is on a regular cycle of replacement. We would be adding another piece to that list. And there are only so many pieces we can continue to replace.
Okay, that's all valid points.
Absolutely.
I certainly, Dan is an asset to this district. I will speak to his value. One of the items that Art presented was the batteries. Dan has brought in, I believe it's interstate heavy duty batteries. We are now essentially have a dealership set up. So we're stocked with batteries and we don't pay for them until they come off the shelf.
Yeah.
So you can grab a battery, go.
Those kinds of things are valuable. They keep in the fleets running.
He brings a great deal of insight and energy to the role, and I think we're lucky to have him.
They did do that. Not charged.
Any further discussion on
No, so that one was also tabled, right, by the school board.
Mr. Chair. I agree with everything you said on this item. My only question is, having this gentleman using his own truck, is that set up any kind of insurance liability for us, or?
Wasn't asked.
How it used to work in previous jobs, if you used your own car and you got in a car accident, and you were acting as an agent of, your employer, then typically your employer's insurance would cover you, for that. But having not read or being involved with our, our insurance people, then I can't obviously speak to that. But from my previous life, that's what would happen.
That's my experience as well.
I'm
So
gonna ask
in
a
that case,
question.
we would pick up the insurance one way or the other. So to what? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that I will ask the question because there are a lot of people who travel between schools and whatnot, and I guess I don't know exactly what the answer is, so I'll check with our new company to find out.
So there was this thing, I don't know how it pertains to, but the comings and goings rule, and that if you were coming to work, or you were leaving work to go home, or leaving work to do a non-work related errand, that potentially your insurance didn't cover you, but otherwise it should, I don't know, because.
Yeah, if you're in the course of your job, I believe they do cover you, but insurance changes all the time, as we know, so I'm just gonna double check on that with our new company.
Thank you for the question, Michael.
No, otherwise, this looks really good to say no.
We'll have more of a discussion on
Saturday.
Saturday about it, so we have valid points. Anything to add, Jerry?
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. This is the dance class.
I'm very much in favor of the program, but don't put the money in the budget.
Okay, just, I'll give a rundown for Michael.
Yep.
And the recording. This is Principal Justin Casarino, Walpole Attendance Area, NHDI, New Hampshire Dance Institute, if I have that correct.
Yes.
And this is for the Walpole schools receiving an instructor to come into the schools and teach dance. Optionally to students who enroll in the program. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael?
And if you say don't put the money in the budget, where does the money come?
I think they have plenty of money in their budget. They have to figure out their needs and priorities and they should, I don't think they're that accurate in their budgeting.
Oh,
This is an expansion of the program as well, right? I'm sorry, did you say that? That this is, they already have the program. They
They've
want,
been having it for years. They've been getting it from the Fall Mountain Endowment.
Yeah.
They've been getting the money and I don't know why they didn't go back this year or for next year, but they have their reasons.
As it states here, after 3 years of at least 17 students participating in this program, we feel like it is necessary to include this in the budget.
okay,
But like I said, I don't think the budgeting is that accurate, that $3,500 can't be found. Or can't be. It's just too little of an amount. I wish we were that accurate.
I think we're getting closer.
good. Thank you.
Okay? And that one was approved by the school board as presented. Moving on. The next one is from Sarah Edmonds again. Fall Mountain Regional High School. This is the CTE program. CTE director, full-time.
Gabe, didn't that one get voted down?
So it's not coming to us.
Right, I think so, right? Those are- Yeah,
Denied, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
no, so we don't have to talk about it.
Just explain for Michael that.
Sure.
That it was it was a full-time CTE director presented for the high school's career and technical education.
Mhm.
And it has been denied by the school board, so
Okay.
it need to come before us.
So then a recap of right now, the first one from Sandra passed the school board, the second one from Chris passed the school board. The next 1, 2, 3, 4 were tabled, and the one from Justin passed the school board. So then on Monday, when the school board gets the rest of the information, and they vote whether to bring it to then we will then vote to say, yes, it's gonna be added to the budget or not.
Is it a joint meeting on Monday?
It is not.
Okay. So then we'll get to vote on it at another point in time.
Which we probably need to figure out when next one.
We could plan for a vote on Saturday for these, and it may make the school board's point. You wouldn't have to discuss it.
We can't, because you can't, I don't think that follows the point of order, because we can't vote until they vote.
Why?
I thought that's how it was presented. I can't tell you why.
I
I thought that it went, I thought it went,
Right,
the school board had to approve or deny it, and then with the school board approved or deny it, then we voted, and then if we voted yes, then it went into the budget, and if we voted no, then it died. I don't know.
My understanding is that, we would vote yes or no and put it in the budget as a line item. If it comes to you and you say, no, we don't want to fund it, we can still keep it in the budget, we just have to find it somewhere else. So you get to tell us what the bottom line is,
right.
we get to put whatever goes in the budget that we want. So if we vote no and it's not in the budget, you could put money in for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we would hire a CTE director with that dollar amount.
Okay. Okay. So then,
Our role is dollars.
We would absolutely value your opinions on the value of a CTE director and such, so any discussion you can bring to the table on that is important.
So we won't vote on Saturday.
or, now I'm confused, do we vote on Saturday? What do you think, Steve?
I looked at it as dollars.
Right.
We still haven't seen bottom line budget yet, so what I know is that from what we were given, the presentation was to add $436,000 to the budget, right, which is a non-starter for me, right? So I look at 436,000, I say, well, I can get rid of 90,000 with the CTE director. That doesn't make sense to me. I can change that number, I can change that number. Maybe that gets down to $236,000 added to the budget that was given to us. So that's how I was looking. It's up to the school board and the school, what positions they want to fill. And if, you know, I appreciate they like our recommendation, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with them to fill the positions.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess. I mean, that's my understanding of the process anyway. If they don't want to buy a truck, they don't have to buy a truck. Right?
Mhm.
We can argue why that 436,000 isn't a valid number based on what they gave us.
Okay,
So then maybe we vote, I mean, if since I was incorrect about procedurally what we need to do, then yeah, we should vote and discuss and vote on Saturday.
my rationale was that with running out of time or running short on time, while we were meeting, we could give the administration our intention and not have to kick that can down the road farther, so until they understand our wishes.
Yeah, I mean, there's three numbers that we really need, right? Is the proposed budget complete, right, without any mistakes and other things in the budget or whatever we find, right? And then the default budget, and then it's our number. And that's where it sits, right?
Yep.
Without those first two numbers, it's hard to do the third number. And when I went through this whole thing, the thing that's missing is what we've been asking for 2 years, and that's the actuals against the budget. Right? It's not budget to budget, because if last year's budget was inflated, now we're inflating the next budget. We really want to see what they actually spent so far. And that report is tough to get for whatever reason.
You're looking for the financial report?
Yeah, it was this report that we have for the budget, all the line items.
You want what makes this up?
What makes that up? Yeah.
Sure.
An electronic form, please. Yeah, I watched that I see that on.
Do we have anything to discuss on this justification items? Then we will move on to review of narrowing down the questions from the budget committee line item review form.
So I put this together, and a lot of these questions were from the things that I did, and I need to just say from the beginning that I recognize that probably a lot of my answers are already in the binder, but I looked at this and then did not have time to go back and find my own answers. So if they seem like foolish questions, they could be. So, and the idea was that we didn't want to waste the administration's time with questions that they had already answered. So, which is why this type of meeting is important too, so because the other thing is that although I might think it's a foolish question because for my own reasons or whatever, somebody else could still have that question. So, that is what I got, and I put, if I missed if you guys sent me something and I missed it, then I apologize, but that's what I have, so. Yeah. Is there anywhere you guys want to start in questions that you had? In the line items in the budget?
When I looked at online at the document that you just sent over, and I looked at the questions. I mean, it's gonna be hard for anybody, I think we're just gonna bury Lori completely. Asking why did one line item go up 5%, why did this line item go down 10%? I mean, I think, looking at just in general, it's difficult for her to pull up some of this information. And we really should be sure that what we're asking for will give us some value.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
that's, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the administration right now, but I will be fair if I can.
Appreciate that.
No, absolutely, and so it's like, that was the whole idea, is that are the questions worthwhile?
Yeah,
And are they going to provide any value? And so, yep, the line item went up by 5%, or it went over that $5,000 threshold mark or whatever in my head, where I was looking for why did this went up, you know?
Yeah, that's why if we see the actuals, we might change my mind on some of the things that I was looking at in the facilities side.
Yeah,
It's like, one thing I noticed last year, I didn't notice it so much this year, but last year I noticed that when the facilities budget was put in, I guess there was like a 8% inflationary number, and they just raised everything 8%. And I was like, nah, it doesn't fly with me, you know, we gotta come back and look at that a little tighter, you know, but with the actuals, then we can say, all right, well, you didn't really spend the money, you're not submitting the money, so you're just carrying it over from year after year after year. One of the things I saw when I first got on the select board, they replaced the roof and they put it in the budget. Right, then the next year, that high number carried into the budget again next year. And I said, well, you're not expected to replace the roof every year. So that money came out right away, right? And it brings it back down again to where it should be. So that's the kind of thing you kind of look for in some of these things.
Also, you being here is super helpful, but I know that Lori had talked about, I missed part of it, and I, like I said, didn't have time to go back and rewatch the meeting, but she had talked about how certain things had moved.
Mhm.
Do you remember, can you speak to, like, I'm asking you for a private tutoring session?
Is there a specific question? You're talking about that things that we approved over the course of the year to be moved between lines. I don't remember
Maybe.
exactly
Yeah.
what those were.
I think one of the big questions that I had was a lot of line items went to zero.
Yes,
And I think it was because they were moved to other places.
right.
The question is, are they really zero or did we just miss it?
No, I hear what you're looking for.
So like, if you look at,
You show me.
yeah, so this is what, these are where my questions came from. So I'm at 1023-520-001, school board liability insurance. This was appropriated, this is the difference. So I think this has to do with the fact that we changed insurance companies, so it went to a different line,
Yes.
right? So like, this is, as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh, this is 100% difference. This line got zeroed out. Why is this line zeroed out? Which is why it's on the spreadsheet. This is an example of a question that doesn't need to go to administration. It's already been answered. I already answered my own question. But, like, was there? The board dues, that got zeroed out, right? Yeah. So, and the board contingency fund got zeroed out. And, and that's where I went through and said, okay, to Steve's point and my question, I'm assuming that some of this did get zeroed out and some of it got moved, but then she probably told us at some point, and I just can't remember what she said.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where that moved to, but I think this one has, because you can kind of see where there's been every year in the past, we've always needed it for something.
Exactly.
And now that it's zero, it's being adjusted. And that's one thing I think Lori is doing really well for us. It's questions I've been asking for a decade. Okay, so is this the right place for this? Or is anyone looking at it to make sure it goes with the article of agreement, with our methods? And she's doing a really good job, which is part of why everything is getting backed up. So that's where things like this, I don't exactly know where it went off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I know that this has gone somewhere. This one, I don't know what that is. I don't know.
She's talking about board contingency, 1023-840-001.
Where there's a one-time $2,500 last year in the budget. I don't recall exactly why that is or what it went to. But it's not there this year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not there for a good reason.
Yeah, like I said, when I went through a lot of that stuff, I was saying to myself, well.
Contingency, I don't think we need, we got room.
Part of it to me is there's a little bit of, or there's a lot of not trusting the numbers yet. Because we've discovered so many mistakes along the way, so many omissions. So that makes you question more things, unfortunately, but you have to.
I think it's a good cleansing questioning though.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to a good place.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody's upset that there's questions. But so when there's more like the school board liability insurance, all of the liability has to be redressed.
Right, and I remember them talking about that. So-
Are there other more of those that you want me to look at?
I mean, I don't. We
In all
don't
these
have,
pages.
in the entire binder, do you wanna look at them all? No, I
But if you
mean,
had questions.
but yeah, no, like, so, but then to your point, Steve, what questions are what's worthwhile bringing to the administration?
Right.
Of all of my, I thought like 70 questions or whatever, however I had, like that, I'm not bringing those to administration, that's
Yeah,
foolish,
same, yeah.
but I don't know.
I think on Saturday, we should kind of walk through it a little bit. And see if we can narrow it down to like maybe 6 blocks or 8 blocks or 10 blocks of basic questions, right? That can be answered.
And maybe what I can do too for Saturday is to kind of go through my own questions and did Lori give us the rationale? I feel like it's in the back. Isn't the rationale in the back? Where she talked about emailing us a 700-page Excel spreadsheet. Did she do that? Cause
I haven't seen anything at
I
all,
haven't found it.
so,
Cause I did go, after I had all these questions, I went and I looked, cause the note at the bottom is that the detailed document is a little over 700 pages. I'll have an electronic version available and we'll discuss with Misty on the best way on how to make it available to you. So I went looking for that, assuming that she had mailed it out or emailed it out, excuse me. And I wasn't able to find that. So I didn't know if maybe the school board got it and I didn't, or we got it and I just couldn't find it,
I
like,
haven't seen it.
okay.
I will tell you, and it's no secret at all, that we took all things off her plate except for the filing for the state in order to get, moving for the tax rates and whatnot. So everything else got put on hold. All focus went into that. So I am sure that things are coming because we have now signed the DOE 25.
It's been approved.
And now that that process can move forward, other things can,
Yeah. Now we're yelling at the state to get us the information.
they will because everybody else is done.
We hope.
We do.
Jamie Dow didn't give me a warm fuzzy feeling.
No.
No, but anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Best we can do. So
Jim.
we got this great thing at the last board meeting, this proposed budget. And it's 0.03% increase. So I'm like ready to say that's good,
I like it.
right?
To answer your question, though, Jennifer sent me a spreadsheet that she got from Jamie, so I assume that, you know, it got sent out to other people. I didn't see a copy of that, because I searched, you know, emails from
Yeah.
Jamie, and I didn't see a copy, but somehow Jennifer got one, and she sent it to me. The electronic
Did she get-
copy of this book.
Okay. Would you send that to the budget committee?
I can.
That would be great.
I'm assuming it's the current, that what's in this book, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Like I
We
said,
need to be careful because we don't know what version
Right.
it is.
true.
I do not know for sure what version it is. But a lot of things I looked through the electronic copy and what I was tasked with matched what was in the book, but again, that could be that the additional sheets we got last time, none of mine were changed, so, but everyone else's might have been, I don't know.
No, but if you could just forward me what you had, or just forward the committee what you have, then that would be great. And then, yeah, so, and Primex is who we were with now for insurance. Remember that now.
So just to flesh that out a little bit further, we have a document that we're looking for, Amanda, that Jennifer emailed to Jerry, that we don't know the origin.
The origin was from Jamie. As far as that origin, I do not know. So Jennifer got it from Jamie. And I didn't know if she sent it to everyone. I did not receive a copy directly from Jamie. I got it from Jennifer.
Okay,
And then if we can, I'll go through and see if I can whittle down, my own questions, for Saturday, so it's not gonna take up so much time.
Yeah, I'm working on some questions as well. I'll try to consolidate them down to something, because you can question almost every line item if you want, so.
Right, and that's not the goal.
No, it's not,
And-
it's. Like I said, if this was considered accurate and reliable at 0.03% increase, I would sign off on it tomorrow. But,
No more meeting.
so I'm not sure what the real number is.
All right, print that. I was gonna, print out the outstanding information requests form, and I forgot to print that, so I don't, aside from budget to actuals, I
Yeah,
don't know
that's the
what
only thing I'm
else
looking for to.
we have
review.
outstanding for information requests. I know that, Lori did provide answers to Jennifer's questions. I think your question, Steve, about from the last meeting, not the last meeting, it was a couple meetings ago. It was one of the meetings where we got I think it was the meeting where we got the binder, and I couldn't come to that meeting, Lori had asked that questions be submitted to the board by a certain day, and then the only questions that we got were from Jennifer and Steve. I do believe that Lori gave us answers to those.
Yes, Superintendent Dedman, so I believe answered most of them.
Okay, so,
But it's, you know, to be realistic, it's based on information that questions come from information you're given. Right, so as information comes, there's gonna be more questions, so having this fixed date out there is kind of like, you know, until we get all the information.
right.
But some of it, I mean, like transportation numbers and stuff like that, I mean, it's just general information.
Any further discussion on questions to narrow it down? We can come together Saturday and come out of that
What time are we
meeting.
meeting?
9, and then it's changed now because we changed the date. The Charlestown building was not available, so we're gonna be at the voting room in Langdon, which is at the back of the Baker Building. So it's on the other side of the office of the superintendent's office,
Oh, where?
by the fire department
Okay, in Langdon,
in Langdon.
okay.
Driver on the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just confirmed today that everything is all set to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Amanda.
So really, Saturday, the question I think now is, what do we want to get out of Saturday? Right? What do we want to walk out of Saturday's meeting with?
Do we need to have a budget number by that date?
I don't know if we need to, and I don't know if we will be able to,
Mhm.
because to Steve's point, we don't have, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I would love to.
Well, what I'm asking is, what do we need to come out with?
Right? I guess coming out with any other questions that we have, you know, in those grouped questions. Any other information requests that we need? I mean, and what other information do we need so that we can come up with a number, which I know we don't have the proposed, we don't have the
I
default,
think
so.
one of the things I'd like to come out with is get a feel for where we are on the bottom line number. I mean, we're pretty close. I think, we know it's gonna be $35 million. Plus or minus a few $100,000. And are we comfortable with that number or not?
Yep.
Right, and I think that's where we gotta go. And if we're not comfortable with it, what is our comfortable number? We can walk away with that. I think we have a pretty good step on where we need to be.
I agree.
At least that's my 2 cents.
So bottom line, ballpark number.
Yeah, I mean, we know right now it's based on this document, it was like 35,086,000, right? And you know from the justification that there's gonna be at least 100,000 or more, probably gonna be recommended by the school board. Be added. And then we can look at that and say, does that make sense to us? And if it doesn't, then we can come up with our own number against that. And somewhere in between all that is the full budget. Right?
Yep.
Cause I don't, based on basically where the DOE 25 was, I suspect that Lori's not gonna have a lot of time to come up with all the rest of the stuff for the budget by Monday night.
I'm still hoping.
You're still hoping, okay?
Michael or Jerry, any ideas on what we want to accomplish on Saturday?
No, I'm all set.
Yeah, no,
We'll go into it and with agenda items to narrow down these questions for the administration.
Yeah.
And get a feel for a
Or
ballpark
ballpark number.
Yeah, I think that's probably gonna give us within a little bit anyway.
Okay, review of outstanding information requests.
Yeah, that's the thing I didn't have. I'll have that for Saturday to see what we have outstanding, and I think that will go into our conversation about what other information do we need from the administration.
Okay, that's what we already passed.
Yeah.
So is there anything else to come before this meeting?
I think so.
I have one thing.
Listen,
I just want you all to consider that we also have, support staff negotiations going on, so that's going to add to this particular budget.
Yeah.
So that number, just to keep in the back of your mind, it is gonna be an increase somewhere that people will vote on.
I wrote that note down.
But that,
I wrote that note, it's the support staff negotiations done. And it's something about 4% non-union increase.
there, I think in this part, there's 4% non-union, but I don't know exactly what the.
Yeah, and then there was something about 2.5% plus the step changes. I didn't believe the bottom number.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
okay. Anything else to come before this meeting? Want to entertain a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Michael, moved, and Steve second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for your time.